Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ma'am and class. We are from the 10th group, and today we will try to present the new topic from our subject, English language teaching assessment and innovation. Okay. There are two topics that will be presented today. The first one is about assessing listening, and the second one is about testing listening. Okay. The first topic is about assessing listening, and the presentation will be started by Ma'am Evi. So, Ma'am Evi, time is yours.
Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Nur. Welcome to our group class, ma'am. Our group will do a presentation about assessing listening. There are five the important points in assessing listening. First, the principle. Two, the basic. Third, the type. Fourth, the indicator. Fifth, the difficulties. For observing the performance of four skills, first, principle for assessing a learner's competence is to consider the availability of the results of a single performance. Several tests that are combined to form an assessment. A single test with multiple test tasks to account for learning styles and performance variables. In class and out class graded work, alternative form of assessment. And the second principle is one that we teachers often forget. We must rely as much as possible on observable performance in our assessment of our students. Next, Nur. And the basic comprehending on survey structure, understanding of pragmatic context, determining meaning of auditory input, developing the GITS, a global or comprehensive understanding. Next, Nur. And then the type of listening. First, intensive. Second, responsive. Third, selective. And fourth, extensive. We can call ears to easy reminding. Next, Nur. We have indicators, 70 indicators in assessing. There are micro skills and macro skill. In micro skill, discriminate among the distinctive sounds of English, retain chunk, recognize English stress patterns, recognize reduced form of word, distinguish for boundaries, process speech containing pause, recognize grammatical word, classes, system, pattern, rules, and elliptical form, and then detect sentence constituents and distinguish between major and minor constituents. And 11 and 10 recognize that a particular meaning may be expressed in different grammatical form, and recognize cohesive device in spoken discourse. That is for micro skills. As macro skills, there are basic macro skill here. Recognize the communicate function of utterance according to situation, participant, and goals. Evaluate situation, participant, goals using a real world acknowledgement. And three, from events, ideas, and soon describe it, predict outcomes, invert links and connection between event, deduce cause and effect. Four, distinguish between literal and implied meanings. Five, use visual, kinetic, body language, and other nonverbal clues to decipher meanings. And six, develop and use a battery of listening strategies such as detecting keywords, guessing the meaning of words from context, appealing for help, and signaling comprehension of lack thereof. Next. And here we have eight difficulties in assessing listening. First, clustering. And second, redundancy, and third, reduced form, and fourth, form performance variable, and five, colloquial language, and six, a rate of delivery, and seven, stress, rhythm, and intonation, and eight, interaction. Okay, that is from me. I will describe all, and we have discussed it in next discussion. Next, for our presentation, in Nur. Yeah, time is your Nur. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I will try to continue the presentation. Okay, as what M.Pd already explained, that there are four types of listening performance from the student that can be assessed. The first one is intensive, responsive, selective, and also extensive. Okay, so let's see more explanation and also example each of them. Okay. The first one is intensive listening. Okay, it is listening for perceptions of the component of a larger stretch of language, such as phonemes, words, intonation. And in this type of listening, okay, so it assess the student performance that can be assessed by using two forms. The first one is recognizing phonological and morphological elements, such as the students' understanding about the phonemic pairs, morphological pairs, and then stress pattern. Okay, and the second one is by using paraphrase recognition. It is such as sentence paraphrase, dialect paraphrase. Okay, in paraphrase recognition, it assesses the student's ability to paraphrase the meaning or a situation that they listen from the audio, and then they need to choose the right answer from the number of options in the test. Okay, let's see the example. Okay, for recognizing phonological and morphological elements, okay, here we have phonemic pairs which focus on consonant and also vowel. For the consonant example, he's from California, and the option is he's from California and she's from California. Here, the test want to assess the student ability in differentiate the consonant between his and also she's. Okay, and for the phonemic pairs which focus on vowel, the example is he living? And the option is he living and is he living? In this example, the test want to test and also to assess the student's ability to distinguish between these two vowels, living or living. Okay, and then for morphological pairs with using past participle ending, the example is I miss you so much, and the option is I miss you so much and I miss you so much. Okay, from this test, the test want to assess the student ability to identify the intonation or maybe which element that is used in this test. Okay, and then the last example is stress pattern in can't. For example, I can't go tomorrow. And the option is I can go tomorrow and I can't go tomorrow. Okay. From all of this example, the point is that from the phonemic pairs, the objective is to see the student's ability in distinguish, in differentiate between phonemic distinction itself from the test. Okay. And let's see the example for paraphrase recognition. Here, there are two kind of paraphrase. The first one is sentence, and the second one is dialect. Okay. From the sentence paraphrase that, hello, my name is Keiko. I'm from Japan. Okay. From this sentence, I'm from Japan is the phrase which is being tested. So the test want to assess the student ability in paraphrasing this sentence, and then choose one the option which has the same meaning with this sentence. Okay, and for dialect, actually it is similar with the sentence, but the students need to listen some dialect from two people or more. Okay, but the point is same, which in paraphrasing the sentences, the meaning or maybe the situation from the audio that the students listen. Okay. The second type of listening is responsive listening. It is listening to a relatively short stretch of language in order to make an equally short. Okay. In this responsive listening, uh, it assesses the student's ability in getting the short answer, okay, from the audio to answer the question, such as multiple choice question or open-ended response to a question. And the objective of this type of listening performance that they want to see and also to assess the student in recognizing the question and also the way and then the appropriate answer from the question. Okay, from multiple choice question, we can see the example that how much time, okay, if the students can get and also recognize the point, how much time, of course, they will choose B, okay, and that if they don't recognize the point of the question itself, so they will be easily to choose the incorrect answer. And for the open and response, actually it has the same point that the student should recognize the question point and also its appropriate response. But for this open end response, the students should write or speak directly for the answer. Okay. The third type of listening is selective listening. It is processing searches of discourse such as short monologue for several minutes in order to scan for certain information. Okay. In this third type of listening performance, that the assessment will focus on the student's ability for getting selective information, where the student will listen to a block of information and they will complete the task through some activities. The first activities that can be done in this type of listening is listening close, which the student will listen the audio and then the student will fill the blank which has been provided by the teachers. Okay, and they fill this blank according to the information that they listen. And the second activity is information transfer, which the student will listen the audio and then they will process the information and then transfer the information to a visual representation, such as multiple pictures cue selection, like this on the screen. There are four options that has pictures, okay, which the pictures will be made according to the audio that the students listen. So the students need to listen the audio carefully to make them understanding what's happening and also what the information tells them about. So they can choose the appropriate answer for the test. Okay, the second one is single picture skewed verbal multiple choice. If the previous one are using pictures and this one are using a sentences, which it is such as a conclusion or maybe a sentence about what's happening and what has already explained through the audio. Okay, so the students should listen the audio carefully so they will get the answer correctly for the test. And the last one is chart filling. It's the same way that the students also need to listen the audio and after that then transfer the information into chart filling. So they will fill the charts according to the information that they get from the audio itself. Okay. The last type of listening is extensive listening, which it will be presented by Indri. So Indri, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Nur. Okay, I will continue the explanations about extensive learning, extensive listening. Actually, in extensive listening, we are basically listened a lot, and also listen often, and also listened at an easy level to audio content, and also in extensive listening. We are listened a lot to the comprehensible and also enjoyable content. And in extensive learning, there are some important questions about designing the assessment itself. And the first question is about can the listening performance be distinguished from the cognitive processing factors such as memory, association, storage, and also recall? And the second important question is about, as the assessment procedure become more communicative, does the task itself take into account and also account test takers' ability to use grammatical expectancies like lexical collocations, semantic interpretations, and also pragmatic competence. And also the third question is about are the tests themselves correspondingly content valid and authentic, that is, and also do they mirror the real world language and also context. And the last question is about which is the task that leads one to ask what the difference is between the assessment and also the teaching task. Next, Nora. Okay, there are some methods in extensive learning. The first is dictations. Dictation itself is widely reached genre of assessing listening comprehensions. In dictations, the test taker hear a passage, typically 50 to 100 words, and also recite it 3 times. In the first, it is normal speed, and also then with a long pauses between phrase or natural word groups. And during this, which the time the test taker will write down what they have just heard. And finally, at the normal speed, once more, so the task taker can check their work and also proofread their work. Next, Nor. Okay. Actually, there are some difficulty in dictations. The difficulty in dictations, like it is easily manipulated by the length of the word groups and also the length of the pauses, the speed at which the text is read, and also the complexity of the discourse, grammar, vocabulary used in the passage itself. And also in the scoring, yeah, there are several possible kinds of error. The first is about spelling error, and also spelling obvious mispresentations of a word, and also the grammatical errors, like the test takers hears like cannot do it, but they write it like I can do it, and then skip word or phrase. And then the next is about the permutations of the word and also the additional words not in the original. And the last is about the replacement of a word with an appropriate synonym. Next, Nur. Okay, the second one is the communicative listening. Actually, in communicative listening, the genre of assessment task in which the test taker is presented with a stimulus monologue or conversation, and then they ask to respond to a set of comprehension questions. And then the example is like the test in TOEFL. Yeah, in TOEFL test, we can see that there is a dialogue, and then we answer questions based on the dialogue. And then the monologues, lectures, and also brief conversations used in such tasks are sometimes a leader contribute, and also certainly subsequent multiple choice questions, and don't mirror the communicative real life situations. And then some of them are care and creativity. One can create reasonably authentic stimuli, and in some rare cases, the response mode actually approaches completely authenticity. Next, Nor. Okay, next is the authentic listening. In authentic listening, it is not like communicative task. and every task required some component of communicative language ability. Every task shares some characteristic with the target language task, and no task is completely authentic. Some possibilities in authentic listening, like the first is note-taking. In note-taking, in note-taking, the task takers will take a note about what is the lectures said or told during the task. And also, one among several response format include note-taking by the test takers. And then the notes are evaluated by the teachers on a 30-point systems. The second one is editing. In editing, the task provide a lot of written and also spoken stimulus, and also requires the task taker to listen for these discrepancies. And also the scoring achieve relatively high reliability, as they are usually a small number of specific differences that must be identified. And then this is the way of task proceed. One potentially interesting set of stimuli for such a task is descriptions of a political scandal first from a newspaper with a political bias, and then form of a radio broadcast from the alternative news stations. So the test takers are not only forced to listen carefully to the differences, but they are subtly informed about the biases in the news. Next, Nor. And then the third one is the interpretative task. In here, this is one of the intensive listening tasks that describe about the paraphrasing a story or conversations. In interpretative task, extend the stimulus material to a longer stretch of the discourse and forces the test taker to infer a response. And the potential stimuli that it can be included like song lyric and also poetry, radio or television news report, and also oral account of an experience. Next, Nur. Okay. The next is about testing listening. In testing listening, there are two important things. The first thing is about the specifying what candidates should be able to do. The first is about specifying the content. In specifying content, we need to pay attention to the operations. As with readings, there may be more than one level of analysis, include macro skills and also micro skills. In macro skills, the objective like the listening and also obtaining guess and also following the directions and also following the instructions. But in micro skill, it is include the interpretations of information's patterns, and also the recognitions of the functions of the structures. And then the second one is the types of the text. This might be the first specified as what kind of text that will be included. Is it a monologue, dialogue, multi-participant, and also further specified like announcement, talk or lectures, and also instructions. And then the third one is addresses. In here, the text may be intended for the general public, like students and also young children and so on, to whom the text will be. And then topics. So the topics will be often be identified in the quiet general term. And second one is setting criteria level. The first is we need to setting the task itself. If the task is set in appropriate level, so it is a near perfect set of response may be required for a pass. And then in setting the task, we need to select the sample of speech first, where the passage must be chosen with the task specifications in mind. If we are interested in how candidates can cope with the language intended for a native speaker, then ideally we should use sample of authentic speech. And then the second one, after setting the task, we need to write, not yet Nur, to writing, we need to write the items. Next, Nur. Okay. Okay. In here, there are some techniques that can be used in testing listening. The first technique is multiple choice. If we use multiple choice in testing listening, the alternative but must be keep short and also simple. Second one is short answer. If we use short answer technique in testing listening, the items should be brief only, really short responsive are called for, and also the completions of variety requiring minimal writing from the candidates is particularly useful. And then the third one is information transfers. In these techniques, we make minimal demands of unproductive skills. The activity in this technique include labeling diagram or pictures, completing forms, and showing routes on a map. And then the next is about note taking. In this technique, the candidates takes a note during the talk, and only if the task is finished, they see the items to which they have to respond. And then the next is about particle dictations. It is a little bit same with dictations. And then the last is about the recordings or live presentations. Okay, thank you. That's all about my explanations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Indri. Okay, class, I think that that's all for the presentation from our group. And maybe after this, we can uh, make a discussion. And then that's all from us. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum semua. Thank you.